Hello everyone and welcome to another Atomic Mass Transmissions Live. I'm Will Schick, Director of Product Development for Atomic Mass Games. Very excited to be with you today as we continue our X-Wing Repaint series. Last week we did a TIE SE First Order Bomber, and this week we are going to be doing the BTA NR2 Y-Wing, or the Resistance Y-Wing. I'm not going to use all of those letters as I go or I'll never get anywhere with all the conversations. It's a lot of stuff. However, as I was going through the cards for this new ship, one jumped out at me immediately. It was Chorus Capillum Gentleman Flyer. How could I not do a specific repaint for the Gentleman Flyer? Of course, this got me on a whole tangent, so we're going to be painting a pink caddy influenced 1950s Y-Wing for the Gentleman Flyer, Mr. Chorus. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be pretty weird and zany. But, you know, when you get inspired, you got to do the thing. So I'm going to switch this off of me, and we're going to get started on this Gentleman Flyer's ride. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start off by painting my pinks. The way I'm going to do this is I'm going to mix up a little bit of my pink color. I'm going to use a magenta and a bit of off-white for this. And with that in mind, we're just going to start getting to work. I don't really have a great pre-mixed pink that I want to use, so mixing my own pink out of the magenta and a little bit of off-white will definitely be the best way to go here. All right. So again, we're just kind of going to like go by feel on this. It's not going to be bubblegum pink. I think we're going to wind up a little bit more in like that hot pink range. But squid pink from Vallejo is just a little like it's a little too gum colored. Like it looks like somebody's teeth. And I think we want, instead of like the pure bubblegum pink, I want a little bit of that like hot fuchsia pink. So we're just going to keep mixing. And in fact, here we can just bring this. So here's my pink that I'm working on right now. And you can see how I've got a little bit of that Vallejo pink. I got a little bit of the fuchsia in there, and I'm just kind of like mixing that with some off-white. I'm pretty happy with that. So I think that's where we're going to stick with the color. So we'll dive away. We'll pull this back. Put that out of the frame. There we go. Okay. So now we have that color set up. We're going to just start figuring out where we want to apply the pink. So my goal here, or kind of my vision, is I don't want the whole ship to be pink. I definitely want to balance pink and black, because I do want this ship to look like, you know, like a Gentleman Flyer, but a Gentleman Flyer who shoots down First Order TIE fighters. So we're gonna give some style to it, but we also want a little bit of menace. We want a little bit of hardcore edge to it. So that kind of that like post rockabilly feel. So the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to hit this edge here with my pink. And we'll do this. And kind of imagine that the blacks will come around. We'll use a little bit of our imagination here as we think about how to balance out these different colors. Shift that around, bring it back down. There's like a big long question in chat that I probably should go back to here. Let's see. So for those who are really wondering about who's working on Star Wars products, I've seen this question come up a few times. As Mr. BK stated, one of the best ways to get to know the team and everybody behind it is absolutely to check out Mini Extravaganza 2 if you missed the first one. It's a great way to get introduced to everybody who works on the products, to take a look at the future of what's coming, kind of get a behind-the-scenes view on how we approach development, creation, the art, all that good stuff. As far as directly who's working on it now, so Atomic Mass works very differently than the way that, say, Fantasy Flight Games functioned, in that because our products are, you know, we're a miniatures game studio first, and miniatures games are lifestyle games, they continue to have development that ideally lasts forever. We don't subdivide game development into islands. So we have folks who take over lead roles, and the lead developer is really the person who just manages the project, keeps it on track. They are typically the most involved, but everyone on the development team equally shares the load and the responsibility for developing all the different games. And the reason that this is important is because we really strongly believe that having everybody up to speed and involved in the games gives us not only great collaboration in that everyone can be a part of it, we can always have fresh ideas, nobody ever gets stuck in kind of like a, no one ever gets stuck in the muck, right? Sometimes when one person or a single team works on something, they can kind of lose sight of things. You get too enmeshed in one game or one way of doing things. You don't kind of think outside the box. You don't reevaluate things and look at things with fresh perspectives. And so it's really important to us that everybody on the team is always involved at every step. And that allows us to always bring new perspectives. We can learn from all the work that we do across the studio. And in the rare event where, somebody leaves or retires, and this is like always the big thing, we want the studio and the games to outlast us. I want to retire with all of these games in like great conditions or the best conditions we can leave them, so that other people can take them on. By doing that and making sure that everyone is kind of like a de facto developer expert from the team, from the development team, we ensure that we always have people who can step in and take over projects, and they have all that foundational information and they're ready to go. So it's a very different thing. Whereas I know, traditionally with the Fantasy Flight team, they kind of hand over things to a very subset team, and then that team handles everything for that game. And there's a little bit of cross collaboration, but you kind of know this one person or these couple of people, they're the ones, they're doing it all. That's not how we do things. And it's not how I've seen the greatest success out of like the best development that I've ever seen for miniatures games has always come from a team mentality of collaboration, and especially when you're working on a couple different things, having all those voices involved is really important. So who's leading everything? We're all in there. As far as like lead developers, Will Pagani has currently taken over as the lead developer for Legion. Michael Plummer, who, if you watched Mini Extravaganza before, has been being the lead. He's been the lead developer for X-Wing and Armada, and that's been since the start of the year when he joined us on board. Sarah, who's another one of our development staff, has been working side by side along with myself and everything else, and so that's been kind of like the way in which we've broken things down in terms of a lead. But at the end of the day, we have all the meetings together, everybody play tests together, everybody talks about the games together. There's no separation, so the whole team is just as focused on X-Wing as it is on Legion, and we divide the time and the attention based on what the deadlines are and what the product needs, and we work together as a group to see everything gets done and play test everything together. So there's no individual basically that's going on there. And as far as the whisper-based thing goes, I believe that there is a fix that's coming until a reprint can be done, because it was a printing error oversight. But there will be something that'll come in the errata. I'm pretty sure BK might be able to speak to it a little bit more, but there have been discussions and everything about it. So there's a plan in place that'll do a hot fix for the time being. What else do we want to do pink here? I think we're gonna hit these pink as well. We'll do the end caps in pink. Thinking about it. Knock through that. But yeah, and I would encourage everybody who's watching the streams, check out Mini Extravaganza. We've got some cool panels and reveals that I know BK will be putting up on socials. And if you're interested in X-Wing, we've got a really great panel coming for that. If you're interested in Legion, there's stuff coming for that. So, and we're going to be talking about the future, kind of where we're going. We have some cool reveals for next year, so some teases for that. And if, like I said, if you want to get to know the team and understand kind of who we are and how we do things, it'll be a good time to come in and kind of see like where we want to go next, what our kind of like general roadmap is. I mean, we're obviously like, for many reasons, we can't just sit down and be like, here's the next 3 years and everything that's going to release and all that. Like, that's just, I mean, I hope most people out there are reasonable enough to realize that for so many reasons, that's not something that we can do in any way, shape, or form. But we can definitely and will definitely talk a bit about what to expect that's next and coming on the horizon. And there's a lot of cool stuff. We're already deep in the weeds on concepting a lot of the next stuff for Legion. We've got a lot of discussions, and we've been working with some folks on the next stuff for X-Wing, which I'm doing right now. So we have some fun plans, I think. Hopefully people will like them as much as we like them. So keep going from there. What else do we want to do in pink here? There's all this gribble. And I don't usually worry about the bottom of the ships, but just because we're here, you can't see what I'm doing, but I can see what I'm doing. This is the other reason why I don't worry about the bottom of the ships typically. Primarily because once we start adding that black, it's going to be really hard to go back and do that stuff. It's not as easy to do pinstriping on this as I kind of wanted to, but that's okay. This is where we get creative. And then let's do maybe this little circle bump thing. Oh, and I think we got to do the astromech in gold for sure. Yep, for those asking about X-Wing points adjustments and stuff, there will be a points adjustment coming out around Mini Extravaganza. We'll talk about that a little bit in one of the panels for X-Wing, I believe is the current plan, to just kind of discuss a little bit of thought and mentality about that. A couple other things that'll be happening for X-Wing as well, along with those future reveals like we talked about. So there's plenty of stuff. The sky is not falling, but it's definitely different. There's no reason to be not transparent about that. Obviously, Atomic Mass is not Fantasy Flight. We come from a different background and everything else, but you know, hopefully that background leads to only good things for these games and for their communities as we move forward, because of our focus and our kind of pedigree in terms of being lifelong miniatures gamers and, you know, working in that specific section on the industry. So. All right, what else do we want to do in pink? Is there anything else here on our gentleman flyer that we want to do, or are we pretty happy with this? I think we're going to, are we going to get crazy? It's pretty easy to cover up. It's a little tricky to kind of like, you got to see past the Pepto-Bismol, like the Easter Bunny pink-white here. So it's a little tricky. I have to imagine all of the white being black before I can actually put the blacks down. But I want that pinstriping effect, so I think I'm going to do that. And I think I'm going to do these two, and we're going to have two. I'll have the ones on the outside be pink. These little like engine strut support things. I never really understood. I love the Y-Wing. It's probably one of my favorite ships in the original trilogy and stuff, but I never did really understand the point of how the engines were constructed on this thing. Like, why? Why does it work this way, outside of the fact that it just looks cool? We'll make these little engine strut container things pink. We'll do that. I think we're going to hit this centerpiece pink. Yes. All right, it's that. The last thing I want to do is I'll do this. Let's knock this in here. Yeah, a lot of the stuff we're trying to save for mini extravaganza, because in terms of like announcements and all this stuff, I know everyone's really eager for answers and excited to hear all the stuff. But we do want mini extravaganza to kind of be like the place for that, and it's also a really good venue to do that because we get to be right there with you, in quotes, virtually. But we can present all the stuff. We can show off, images and teasers and all that good stuff, like all at once, and it's just kind of a nice way to make sure that everything's there. And then of course those wind up on YouTube later for people who miss them and all that stuff. But everyone should know that sky's not falling. We're definitely looking at everything from the long term, how we can make everything better. It's always been our goal. As we said when we kind of announced the whole change at the start of the year, part of the benefit, or at least I think part of the benefit of people in a studio that is miniatures game focused is that we all understand the long-term commitment and value that all of these products have. It's not a board game that you're just going to buy and leave on the shelf and play it whenever you feel like it. These are things that you actively engage in. You spend your time and your artistic passion, your mental thoughts all the time. Like you're always thinking about new army lists and new compositions and all that stuff. This is a lifestyle game, and our mentality is always to evaluate that and value that and do the best things we can to make sure that all these things outlast us. If it's viable and we can do it, that's going to be our goal. So we respect all of the passion and work and everything else that's gone into these games before us, and we're going to do everything we can to honor and build on that as much as possible. And there are obviously things that are always outside your control and that you can't plan for, i.e. pandemics and changes of the guard and all of that stuff. But you roll with it and you do everything you can to make sure that it works, and that we're always improving. And that does sometimes mean that certain things will change, or maybe we do things different. Like I said, we don't have a single person who's just, or a single team that's just doing it all themselves. We do everything together. We're definitely very team focused and oriented when it comes to how we handle everything, really, but development specifically, because I know that's the big question right now. And it's different. Is it better? I don't know. Maybe. We think it is. That's why we do it. To be honest, I've never once in my entire career, whether it was teaching or in the tabletop industry, been like, I do this because it gives me subpar results and I don't think it works. No. Not once. I don't know of anybody who brings that mentality to it. So, I know that complaint gets leveled at a lot of people, but I think if you just think critically about it and, view people as people, not as conspirators. There's no conspiracy going on. You realize that, oh, well, I would never do something that would make my life harder or make things worse. So why would anyone else, right? You can disagree. Everyone has their point of view and the way they do things, and you can disagree with it, but, benefit of the doubt that if somebody's doing something, even when you don't agree with it, discourse only really works if you go, okay, well, they're not doing it because they want to cause problems. They're doing it because they think it's the right way to do something. It's going to lead to success. Whether that's right or wrong, that's where the debate happens. But I don't have a mustache that's long enough to twirl yet. Maybe someday I will, but you know. Okay, I think we're happy with the pinks here. So I'm going to switch over to my black, and then we'll go back through and we'll do some highlighting up on the pink. And we'll just see if Mr. Chorus Capillum Gentleman Flyers Y-Wing Caddy Ride looks as good as we hope it will. So I'm just going to mix up a quick contrast wash of black. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of come through and I'm going to be pretty careful, ideally. And we're just going to like knock in this black over the grays. So there are a lot of times where I might have done, you know, if you watch the streams a lot, you'll see that we do a lot of undertoning with these contrast washes. Because then you get that nice, you know, if you put a blue, like a Holder blue, there I said it. I'm not going to use it today. I don't think I'm going to use Holder blue today, but I said Holder blue. So I've hit my quota. If you put a Holder blue under your black, then you get that nice highlighting for the black, because black is obviously defined by its highlights, whereas white is defined by its shadows. I say that like every time I'm doing that. It's just how it is. I'm going to go ahead and just let the neutral white be there, because I think it will play well, A, with the pinks, and then B, in interest of time and kind of my own sanity and effort, it's just going to be easier and quicker to do it this way. So the big trick here is obviously being as careful as we can be wherever the pink is. So if we make a mistake, we can always go back and kind of clean it up. But, see, like right there, made a big mistake. Come back through and just brush. This is the other nice thing about working on washes and stuff. And we will go back through and see, I can kind of cheat there and just use that. We can cheat that and just use it as kind of like our dark line and stuff too, so that's fine. And if we really mess up, it's not like it's impossible to go back and retouch up the pink. But if we can avoid it, you know, it's better for everyone. Mostly better for me and better for our time. So we'll get closer to kind of a final result. So just kind of knock that through. And because it's a wash, it might take, you know, 2 coats, so it might be a little splotchy at first, but we're not going to push our luck. We're just going to kind of like go right through. So we are talking Min Extravaganza and how awesome that's going to be. Lots of good stuff. If you don't regularly watch the stream or don't watch every day, we did a really cool live stream game yesterday. And next Friday, if you're big into Legion, we're going to be doing a really awesome Yoda and Wookiees versus Super Tactical Droid and Separatists game. So you can check out, we just set up all of our robot cameras in the studio. Now that we've been able to get back in and do more stuff in the office. And that was super awesome. We have so many cool angles, and you can really just zoom in and see the cool paint jobs and see the cool armies, get all the different like views on the battle as it unfolds. It was really fun. Looks really gorgeous. It's a lot of hard work coming to fruition after a while. Some of it I did, a lot of it other folks in the studio did, so kudos to them. But yeah, next Friday, 1 p.m. Pacific. If you want to check out a Legion game, I believe Michael Plummer will be helming the droids, while Will Pagani takes helm with Yoda and his clones. He posted in the Legion a couple of places his clone force that he put together. Very Bad Batch inspired, although the hilarious part is he hadn't seen Bad Batch when he did it. He brought him into the office, like, oh, you've been watching the Bad Batch? He's like, I have not yet, because I think he finished it right when the Bad Batch like launched. So we gave him some crap about that. But it should be a good throwdown. Those two always play really, really fun games. They're always very, very bloody. And so that'll be happening. I'll be painting Chewbacca next week on stream. Sure, we'll have to get in some more. I got to get in some more X-Wing games with one Michael Plummer. I got to revenge my loss from the last time. Those darned Mandalorians just got me. So, plenty of good stuff. All leading up to one mini extravaganza. I'm hard at work with the playtest. Folks in the playtest forums have been working on all kinds of things coming up. So, yeah, all I can say is if you want to know what's going to happen and kind of where we're going next, mini extravaganza is your place. But we haven't stopped working. We've actually been pretty nose to the grindstone recently, because summer is always the time when like so many things are due for production and everything else. And granted, you know, we're always releasing stuff. We always have stuff on the schedule. It's our goal to have regular monthly releases, or bi-monthly, every 2 months, however you would say that properly, and things like that. So proper support for games. So there's always a batch of something going somewhere for some game or multiple games. Keep pretty busy. All right, let that through. Legion points adjustment. I can tell you that it's one of the things that's in the works right now, actually, is RRG and Legion points. So there will be an update for the new keywords and stuff with the new releases. And I guess mini extravaganza, a little spoiler maybe? I don't know. There will be a larger RRG / points adjustment kind of thing coming a little later in the year after that. So sometime after mini extravaganza, we'll talk more about that a little bit at the panels and stuff. But yeah, we're deep into it. Pagani has been working with the playtesters. We're talking about that this morning when I was in for testing, and we're working on that, talking about feedback and everything that's going on. I believe him and Michael Plummer and Sarah are all meeting on a bunch of the notes from the Legion stuff this afternoon. Plummer and I were talking about X-Wing stuffs this morning as well during testing, and kind of the current situation with the stuff that's being play tested and some of the updates that are coming. There's some really cool stuff coming for that again we'll be announcing and talking more in depth at mini extravaganza. So I know I keep saying it's cool and it's happening, but I can't spoil it yet. So you'll just have to believe me, I guess, or not. I can't control what you want to do. Mark your calendars. All right, so. Oh, I see that the question that is always asked in every stream has been asked. How's the shipping looking? BK to the rescue on that one. sure when it comes to anything in the US, the rail lines are probably going to give us fits. But maybe we lucked out. All right. Oh, EDA2 restocks. I can't answer that one. I don't know if BK can either. That's more of like it's our product line manager questions. They deal with restocks and anything after really anything after the development cycle closes up and we've sculpted it, we've got everything done, we're turning over final files. Melissa and Derek, and currently they're searching for another PLM, so if you have product management and product line experience and stuff, you should apply because they're still looking for somebody else to join. But those are the brave and intrepid team of folks that handle all that stuff. So maybe BK has some info from them, but I certainly have no oversight on that. Like I said, if it's new product or there's an issue with a reprint, or when we get to reprints and stuff, we look over everything to try to make any changes that need to happen from before. But otherwise, we kind of just the production side or the product side, of which I get to lead, is really focused on all new stuff. Whatever the next thing for the games are, that's where we spend all of our time and energy. All right. So this is messy, but it's definitely like coming through pretty well. We'll just go in and clean it up now. And I think we'll have a very ostentatious Y-wing. So one of the big things is going to be just going through and doing like a quick dry brush on some of these items. I think we'll hit the gun and stuff. One of the big things with all of these Star Wars repaints, especially if you do from scratch like this one is doing that dark lining. So the dark lining is so huge to seeing the ship really pop and look great. Okay, I'm going to dive in really quick with some silvers. So I'm just going to grab a gunmetal gray. Oop. New game modes to Legion. Yeah, we are always, we're definitely we're always looking at how do we expand play experiences and again bring new value kind of to people's collections for Star Wars. I'm totally going to cheat. I'm not going to work on the bottom of this ship right now. I'll go back and do it later. Because we only have like 30 minutes and I want to get at least the part everyone will see and play to a state where it looks really nice and good. Oop, made a mistake. That's okay. Go back and fix it here in a second. But yeah, new game modes are always like really important to look at. And I think just trying to refresh the game experience, give people different options, whether that's through event kits for organized play. Tournaments are pretty straightforward, easy to run, easy to support, but one of the cool things I think we can do as a game studio and as developers is we can come up with things that really turn the expectations of the game on its head and add that extra value, whether that's a kind of Vader down, all against Vader thing, or it's new scenario play for X-Wing that really changes kind of the scope and the expectation of how these things work. Hit this gun with the silver. Now what I think I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of come through. I'm just going to dry brush really softly, because these Y-wings are always just kind of half finished. They always kind of looked half finished, like they took all the paneling off the car and just left it. So we'll dry brush some of this exposed cabling and gribble and stuff. Let's give it a little bit of a pop with the silver. And you know, I think the other thing that's really important is just new standard game formats as well. As games continue to grow and evolve, you have to have points of entry for people that are brand new. You have to have kind of like a commonality for folks. So there's some really important stuff that happens there as well. And all of that, you know, again, enhances the play experience, gives people things to focus on, new problems to solve, new ways to utilize their collections. It's all good stuff. And yeah, X-Wing Epic is kind of a great example of those various game modes that exists in X-Wing, especially in 2.0. I know that, you know, rather than just being a larger game of X-Wing, Epic really took on a life of its own with unique scenarios and all that stuff. And I think that there's more room, absolutely, for things like that to be explored and more stuff to do with that. So that's the hope. And we're just getting started. I mean, in all ways, we're really just getting started and warmed up. There were a lot of things that we had to take across the finish line first. Really great foundational work that was already done, and now we're kind of getting all that stuff across the finish line and truly moving into our own era, as it were. All right. Very, very pink. I want to put a canopy on it really quick. I think we'll do the gold canopy. Why not? So I'm going to start with the silver. And I have to be really quiet right now because I'm concentrating. Are we at a fine detail point? We're going to get quiet. Oh, we missed that side. Get that fixed. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to hit this stuff, and then I'll go back through with like a yellow-brown ink wash. And I'll wash it over that, and it'll give us kind of this gold metallic finish. So we come back over here and hit this little window here. There we go. We'll let that dry. And I'm gonna grab some more black ink, and I'm gonna go through and do some black lining really quick. And we'll also use this opportunity to, like, we missed this part here, so I'm just gonna come through and knock that part out here. And I think we missed something else though. Yeah, we missed right here. We didn't really do the bottom. I'll go through and get the bottom later. It's not a huge deal. Just kind of let that out. Just kind of sploosh it up. Sploochy. There. All right. I mean, as far as competitive aspects go in terms of games and everything else, like, competition and competitive nature are important to games, but they're not the end-all be-all. I think the vast majority of players like to aspire to, you know, the games are competitive at their nature. You're playing against someone else. You're trying to have the best strategy. You're trying to get the best luck, all of that stuff. And I think that's great. And having modes of play that allow players to go in and do that are really important. And obviously, many of the Star Wars games are kind of built functionally around that. And there's been a lot of focus given to those kinds of game modes. And that's not something that I think anybody wants to diminish or take away. But, those are super well established at this point. They don't really need more effort or help. To kind of give a preview of our development talks, although it's not really a preview because you could go back and listen to our developer discussions for Mini Extravaganza 1 or Virtual Gen Con from last year. It's never changed. The best way to make a game the most accessible and the best game it can be is to always develop everything to be as clear and balanced and quote unquote like what makes a great competitive game also makes a great casual game. And I don't really ascribe to those two terms being different or necessarily important, but with all that in mind, for those who don't know one William Pagani, who is our development manager and now taking over kind of the lead developer role on Legion alongside myself, he is a hardcore competitive player. He played CCGs competitively at a professional level. He played several miniatures games professionally at a competitive level. I say professionally, not that he made a living out of those, but that was like the thing he did. So everything he does, and he'll tell you himself, he looks absolutely from a competitive mindset. What are the efficiencies? How does it get broken? All of that stuff. And I think that's really important. So obviously we want places where that stuff can flourish and folks can do it. But it's not the end all be all of the way that games should be played or are meant to be played. There's a lot of, the vast majority of folks are playing not in a tournament, but either pick up games at their local store, and maybe they're practicing to make their skills better. Or maybe they're just playing for fun. I think a lot of players out there are just interested in also doing narrative stuff and telling their own Star Wars stories and playing with the heroes and villains that they love. All that stuff has to be supported too. And obviously, if Darth Vader works great, period, then everyone wins. And then as far as like organized play support goes, everything's there, not the competitive side will continue to, be a key component of any organized play as it always is. I think the biggest thing that we can offer and bring in terms of what we're doing next is expanding what organized play means beyond just tournaments. And kind of bringing new game modes like somebody was asking for, and different game experiences and new ways for players to get into the game and understand the game and all that stuff. It's holistic. Everybody always talks like in absolutes, but there is no absolute. It's, everything that we're doing is about trying to be as great a game for the widest possible group of people, because I don't know about you, but the best games that I've ever been a part of in the miniatures industry and like communities have always been the ones that have the most players. Knowing that I can go into a game store and find a game on Wednesday night or whenever your game store runs their specific night for the game that you love, like that's so important. And the only way that happens is if the game is in a spot where the community can grow and it can attract new players. And that's more than just a focus on tournaments. It's more than just a focus on casual narrative play. It's more than just a focus on perfect balance. It's more than just a focus on theme. It's like, it's everything. So there's the job. Do everything perfect all the time, which, we won't. Much like in the hobby where I'll make mistakes as I paint, or like I just did there. We're not going to be perfect every time. No one is. The biggest thing is that when we make a mistake or we don't do something that works, we'll learn from it. We'll apply that lesson in the future, and it will make us better all around going forward. And that's the ethos. That's the mentality. And if that's something that you can't get behind, well, then I would love to meet you, because you're a person who's never made a mistake before. I don't think anyone with true critical analysis would ever would ever claim that, right? And learning from others and understanding, applying knowledge from other places is also really important, kind of key. All right, pretty happy with that. Oh, pulled off my thing. I just want to come in here and kind of like dark line this little area, or apparently I'll just black it out, whatever. All works. Black out this little area to make it match. Whoop. And then kind of go here. And just really quick, we'll knock out all of this stuff. It's Friday. This is clearly just my pontification time. But, I am trying to hopefully address things that people are unsteady of or unsure of, or restate things that we've always said before. I mean, none of the things I think I'm saying are secrets or different than what we presented at Mini Extravaganza the first time when we talked about how we kind of handle things, internally, and what our thought processes are when it comes to development and design and all of that stuff. It's always been collaborative. It's always been group focused. It's always been unislanded. I don't know. Non-islands? What's landlocked? Should we say landlocked? Does that work? Paint the bottom. I changed my mind. I figured I have my black wash like made up. I might as well just crank out the bottom, although I'm not going to be super careful with it. Probably just like there. So we've accepted we'll make a couple of mistakes and we'll have to go back and clean them up later. Not a big deal. There. Good enough. No one ever looks at the bottom anyway. It's always this side. Okay. I want to do... How much time do I have left? Oh my gosh, I have 12 minutes. Let's do a little bit of highlighting. Sure. I'm going to use this turquoise. We're just going to go for a really high... We're just going to blow it out. Switch my brush really quick. And we'll see if we can do some really quick kind of edge highlighting lines here just to kind of help. Make this black pop a little bit more. Come in like that. Come in over here. Come up like this. And this is the part where you really zen it. This is your Friday. This is your... I'm super exhausted. I need to just zone out. And again, this goes back to black is defined by its highlights. So, doing the turquoise, not only will play well with the pink, because blue, turquoise, and pink, there's an ice cream store that's built its entire brand off of that. It also will really make that black feel cooler and poppy. Come back over. Oh, maybe we'll just go right here. So really all I'm doing is I'm just trying to like hit the blue on like half the panels. This is just really kind of a sloppy edge highlight, honestly. But it'll serve our purposes for what we want here. Just kind of go in. I could probably just soft dry brush this too, and it would work pretty well. The thing I want to avoid, like I just did there, is I want to avoid the center of the panels, because that's where the dark part would kind of be. That's where the illusion goes. So like on here, just kind of like run that over. Honestly, now I'm just going to kind of shift to a little bit of a dry brush on these edges. And this is where doing that silver first is going to not be the best move. So, whatevs. We'll be fine. Knocking this blue. Knocking this blue. Get over here. Whoop. Like on these little engine dolly things. Just kind of come in. Just the edge of the brush. I think that was pretty stark. I mean, I don't know if this is what anybody thought they were going to see for a Resistance Y-Wing, but he is, after all, the gentleman flyer. So he's going to leave his mark when it comes down to it. Hit that with the blue edging there. Blue edging there. A little bit here. Take that. Get some turquoise here. Turquoise there. Oh, we shifted. That's okay. We can fix that later. Put that in. Here. Here. Now when I go a little too heavy, I just kind of like blend that out. Alright, so 8 minutes, we can do it! I mean, we've already kind of succeeded, but see if we can't get a little bit of that pink highlighted up too. Or maybe just shaded down, I don't know. I don't know, we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out once we get kind of done with this part here. These things over, these things over. More of that. A little more of that. Come in over here, yeah. That, hit that. Come down here. There we go. Go a little heavier on the nose, I think. Okay, let's do some real quick. I think we're going to shade the pink, honestly. So we're going to try mixing a little bit of crimson, a little bit of pink, maybe a little bit of purple. And let's just see what happens when we apply this. And this will work pretty well, I think. So we'll just kind of knock in some shade. This little light. Yeah, black highlighted with blue. That's the best way to do it. You can highlight, but I mean, you can highlight black with any color. Green, purple is really nice. But black, I mean, blacks highlighted with grays are fine. They don't look as vibrant. And so ideally, I typically always highlight my blacks with blues. It just makes for a really nice looking final result. But you can highlight blacks with pinks if you want to. That's the cool thing about working with blacks, is there's so many opportunities for different colors and stuff. All right, so we'll just kind of come through here. Yeah, hopefully today's stream was calming. No, it's been a frantic week. Sure has for me. That's why I decided to paint the gentleman flyer and not, one of the other many pilots. Who were some of the other ones that were in there? The hero of something. Oh my gosh, I forgot the name. Hibiscus? It wasn't Hibiscus. But that's what I remember. See? The hero of Hibiscus. There should be one, though. There was Agile Ace. I remember that. I remember that subtitle. So, but yeah, painting with blacks is super fun because you just get to like mess around and do a bunch of different things, and White is similar in that you can highlight white with really any color. Dallas is a really big fan, if you've ever watched him on stream when he does white, of highlighting with yellow. His Galactic Republic clones are highlighted with yellow, actually. You can highlight white. I'm a big fan of using blues for my whites. If you can't figure it out, I'm just a blue. I like blue. I like the color blue in general. It's my favorite color. Always has been. Always will be. But you can highlight your whites with blues. Obviously, you can use greens, and you can even use reds and all kinds of, like, mixing colors is something that seems intimidating at first, but it's just so enjoyable and fun to get different tones, and you just get a different livelihood out of it. So. I don't know if they're ever going to make a gallery. We use most of our repaints and stuff in game, though. Whenever we play games on stream, typically they center around whatever we've repainted at the time. Like, for instance, in yesterday's game with all the new cameras and stuff, all of that stuff was things that, or the vast majority of that stuff was stuff we'd paint on stream. I did some X-Wing repaints for Ayla Secura's squad for the Galactic Republic several months ago, and those were all used in the game against Plumber, where he soundly trounced me because he's very rude. He's a very rude man. So we like to bust them out on streams and in games and stuff, because we paint them to use them, not just to put them on a shelf somewhere. Although mine always wind up on a shelf as well, because I like to have everything on display that I've worked on and my own little personal Star Wars art. Take that up just a little bit. Get that down. Oh, we got to do the droid. I think we're going to do the droid gold. So there we go. It gives a little bit more lively color and depth to that pink. Knocked it in. And pink and black, I mean, you know, punk rockers have known that forever, right? Okay, I'm gonna mix up that wash for the canopy. And this should come out as a nice little gold. I'll come into the side here and hit that. Just gonna let that dry out. And you could just do this with normal gold paint, but I find that doing the silver with the wash just gives you that nice windshield, like colored windshield kind of look. Normally I'd wait until my red paint was done, but okay. And now let's just do the droid really quick. My goodness. I have to find my golds. Sure. Use a little Viking gold. Why not? Plop that out. Grab a little bit of that. And we'll just quickly, very simply, do the full gold droid. Yeah. You know what? We're doing gold blaster cannons all the way. Just seems right. Just feels right. In fact, how much time do we have left? Oh my gosh, it's 2 already. I don't care. We're breaking the rules. Let's do. Just want to do a couple. Let's do these. Come in and I'm gonna do these little. I'm gonna do the engines, or at least the engine fins in gold too. I'm out of control. BK can't stop me. This little engine fin like that. Yes, yes, yes. And then I just want to clean up that canopy really quick. And I'll do that with a little bit. BK can't pull the plug. Better ask any last minute questions before the weekend happens, because I'm about done. So if anybody else has anything else they want to know or ask or try for, now's the time. It's your moment. Because I'm going to touch up this little canopy part. I'm going to show off this really cool Initiative 1 Gentleman Flyer Chorus Capellum. And we're going to be out. Am I going to have a great weekend? Man, I hope so. I hope so. As far as like Epic Legion stuff, I can't talk about future developments in any way, shape, or form, so no comment. But good try. You can keep asking. We'll keep no commenting. It'll be a fun dance. We'll do that forever. Hashtag my Star Wars Instagram thing. That's a BK question. You should ask him. We keep picking stuff. So I think we need to get back on that. BK and I will talk after this if that's not the case. But it's there. Who just did? I don't know who just did. All right. So there we go. Will I seal the paint job? I will. So once I'm done with everything, I will use some matte sealant because I like matte coats, so like a dull coat sealant. Not only will it kind of give a little more durability to the paint, but all paints dry at different levels, and especially when you work with a lot of washes, you get a lot of like high satin to almost gloss finishes, and so dull coating or matte sealing the paint job just adds that extra layer of nice finish to it. I just realized I want to do I want to do that? I do want to do this. I'm going to come back in and make this side match the other side. Haha. There we go. Sweet. All right, now I probably really have to be done, although this means I got to go back to the boring end of week work, which is a lot of paperwork. Not cool. All right, there we go. So there is our finished, mostly. There's a couple things I want to go back and do to the ship, but overall, I'm very happy with where we got in an hour on this kind of ambitious paint job. But this is Chorus Capellum, or at least my take on one Chorus Capellum. Resistance BTA NR2 Y-Wing Gentleman Flyer. This is his ship. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go dust some first order fools. So, let's do that. Until then, be sure to check out next week. We'll be back Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 1 p.m. Pacific. Again, we're going to be playing a Legion game on Friday, so if you happen to like Legion, be sure to check that out. I know we've got some X-Wing stuff planned in the future for gameplays as well. Until then, everybody be beautiful to each other, be good to each other. Remember, we all love these games. We're all here for each other. We're one big community. So even if you don't agree with somebody, they're still there with you. We're all a village. We will see you all next week. Till then, be safe, be beautiful, and we'll see you on the next one. Goodbye.